Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Thanks for watching us. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner with me, Smoking Jim Frazier. Started eating early for some unknown reason. Sorry we didn't give you anything the first 10 minutes, but we're going to start this show. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. Thank you for liking our page and watching us on Facebook. We now have 6,878 likes. Thanks for all those likes. We appreciate that. And this is our next to last show in the studio for 2019. We'll be back for Christmas Eve, hopefully, to do another show. That'll be Christmas Eve, so check that out. And I got some promos here. I don't know if they need to adjust the camera to pick the promos up, but I'll try right now. We can get Connor on the camera, great volunteer. Get us on this camera here. I got Olive Oil's Pizzeria. There we go. Tune into that. There we go. 412-831-1900. Hillcrest Shopping Center. Can't beat Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Frank Venero is there, the owner. He said hi to all of us, and he's happy to sponsor our show with an XL pizza and a steak hoagie. So thank you very much. Check out the food. They got great Italian food. They're there. Give them a call. Tell them Al Levine, the talking machine, sent you. Well, we're hearing something else there. Let me get another promo up. The Bethel Park Historical Society. There we go. Pull it back a little bit, Connor. There we go. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. You can't miss it. They're renovating the school that was built in 1905. They just put the bell that was at the high school up in the cupola and the roof. They got a brand new roof there so they can do more repair work and help modernize the schoolhouse. My favorite tea place, which is Reginald's Coffee, is there. And I get my green tea there about once every 2 weeks or so, and it's just great. Julie and Matt own the place. They do a great job. They got all kind of teaware and stuff there, so check that out. And that's the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Next up, Connor, we'll see if you can pull this up. This is the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Poor Joey died before his 10th birthday. It's already been 5 years. And we honor him with each show. We say, stay Joey strong. That's before Joey had DIPG, the dreaded brain cancer, and the DIPG brain cancer that took his life. So check it out. You can donate as little as $1. Check out their events, and they do a lot of great things in the community. They've donated over $100,000 to find a cure. Next up is the Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. Can you pull that up, Connor? There we go. Perfect. There, you can go to bpcf.org, get an application. They have from $100 to $5,000. They've been around for 25 years, and listen to this, they've donated over $900,000 to groups and organizations in Bethel Park in 25 years. They're expecting to hit $1 million in the next year or two, so check that out. And for your group and organization. Next, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense. We'll see if Connor can get this one too. Perfect. Look at the job Connor's doing there. You can be a volunteer. Matter of fact, Dave Cable says, tell them Uncle Al Levine, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV. You can be here like Connor is.
MVP.
We can appreciate him. There he is. Smoking Jim knows how to promote our volunteers all day long, and he does a nice job. Look how great this looks.
Next thing you know, Connor's going to be promoted to CEO.
Yeah, there you go. And you can call the studio, talk to Dave Cable, 412-831-3304. And tell him Uncle Al wants you to be a volunteer like Connor. All right, we have a sponsor of our show. We do What's on Your Mind to start the show. Skeets Service Station is owned by Skeets Lewandowski. It's a red, white, and blue station, a little less than 7 miles away. They work on anything and everything that runs on gas. They have a Pittsburgh drive shaft company that makes axles. They have a forge, makes knives and hooks for all Smoking Jim's gear. Last week he wore a nice Cleveland jacket there, and he has it on a hook in his bedroom. Got another great picture with another sweetie, so It's in his 2 rooms. You can give a call at Skeet Service Station, 724-348-4715. Remember, they work on anything and everything that runs on gas. Give them a call. And we're going to start this show with What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Here it comes.
you got to see Levine. Almost got alligator arms like Measly Beasley for Buffalo. The Buffalo receivers that want to go over the middle against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But hey, what's on my mind is I was going through the bookstore the other day ago, and they had a book in there. They said, Great sports questions to ask white guys. So I had to buy it. So I got a question for you guys. You don't have to answer it now. You can think about it. For the Pittsburgh sports team, name your player of the decade. That's the Steelers, Pirates, and Penguins. I'll say mine, and if you guys can think of it by the time the mic comes to you, I say the Pens is Crosby. I say, and for those that don't know, the decade is started in 2010, and we're almost at the roaring 20s. So the Pirates got to be McCutcheon, I think, before the haircut. And for the Steelers, hands down, 4-time team MVP, Antonio Brown. So that's where we're at. I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip, and the MVP corner, everybody's been clamoring for my top 10, so I had to bring back my Smoking Jim's top 10 list before every show. Top 10 young guns in the NFL, young quarterbacks in the National Football League. Number 10B, Joshua Dobbs. 10A, Mason Rudolph. How about number 9, Dwayne Haskins of the Washington Redskins? How about HC, Sam Darnold? We'll face him this week.
You mean
with
there's
the Jets.
12?
There's only 10.
12.
How about 8A, Gardner Minshew from Jacksonville? How about 6B? Makes all the commercials.
There's 13.
He gotta be in there with all the commercials. Baker Mayfield, 6B. How about 6A? Tyler Murray. They said he was too short, but he's eating up the league. How about number 5? Jameis Winston. Eating up the league, on pace for over 5,000 passing yards.
What about 2 450 yards games in a row?
Yeah.
He may be the first quarterback to throw 30 interceptions in a season.
There you go. How about and he's playing with the genius, Bruce Arians, will make everybody great. How about number 4, Josh Allen? We seen him with the Buffalo Bills. Tough Wyoming quarterback.
Except I have a question. He's 6'5", he's powerful.
Yeah.
But then how about every 1 out of every 5 passes is 10 yards over somebody's head?
He'll get it together.
How's that happen?
They're all short. The receivers are 5'8".
How's that happen? Yeah, but they're like 5 yards over their head.
Yeah.
He misses them big.
I tell you what, some of them are going to get hung out to dry. How about number 3, Deshaun Watson? What a great quarterback. His college coach at Clemson said he's the next Michael Jordan, and I agree with that. How about number 2?
Hold it. Didn't Michael Jordan play basketball?
Yes, he did. I guess the Michael Jordan of football.
We don't have one.
Okay. How about number 2B? Duck Hodges.
You got 14.
Duck Hodges got to be up there, number 2B. How about number?
Hold it. Wait a second. I got these interruptions because
everybody wants my top 10.
put it like this. I
This
love
is
your
tight.
top
It's
15.
like
I love your top 15. But the Duck just blew up and threw 4 interceptions, and he can't throw the deep ball.
The Duck is 3-1. You keep going like that, you're 12-4 on the year. Everybody would take that.
He may not start any more games after this next one.
Well, I think he's going to be the AFC Player of the Week this week.
Really?
How about number 2A? MVP, Lamar Jackson, number 2A, and number 1 got to be Patrick Mahomes. But what's on my mind is, and this is, I tell you what, I was on the bandwagon with Chip. I thought that Coach Tomlin would win Head Coach of the Year this year. Only head coach in Pittsburgh Steelers history to ever win it was Bill Cowher, who should be in the Hall of Fame. But when you only go 1-5 against teams with a winning record, it's hard to get that. But I do believe if Coach Tomlin and losing to Buffalo like that really hurt at home. But I believe if Coach Tomlin wins the next 2 games, even if Baltimore lays down, he would get my vote for Head Coach of the Year. And that's what's on my mind.
I'm glad I convinced you after Bill Neal wrote a column on that.
Yeah, you see that.
He was 3 weeks too late.
The only problem is that Jim didn't read it.
Man, that's true. I didn't.
He didn't read it because he threw some other stuff in the column, but
Yeah,
that's
that I
another
didn't know
story.
about. Yeah,
Wow.
you see that?
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, everybody. And just to kind of put a little finishing touch on what Jim said, half the quarterbacks that he named aren't going to have jobs next year. Okay? So, the stars of the future, not so much. Now, what's on my mind? Okay, we had Duck Mania. Everybody wanted to bring that big yellow inflatable duck that polluted our rivers 5 years ago. And they wanted to bring that back like that was going to somehow. Well, true to form, just like ducks do, our duck laid an egg last Sunday. And I think he proved beyond any reasonable doubt that he's good as a temporary fill-in. He's not a quarterback that you want to throw the ball more than 20 times a game. If you keep his number of passes he throws in the teens and have him hand the ball off to people that are able to make plays, it's a winning formula when you run the ball frequently and effectively.
That's traditional Steeler football.
And throw infrequently. And this is not new, breaking news here, because every time Ben throws more than 40 to 50 times, we lose anyhow. So, we should have learned something from the past. I don't know if Mike Tomlin was trying to bring the duck back to earth. Maybe his head was getting a little bit too big, wasn't fitting in his helmet right. So,
It worked. It worked.
He took a little wind out of his sails. Now today, Mike Tomlin went ahead and announced that
Duck is
the
back.
duck will start this weekend. But how short of a leash are you going to keep a duck on? Well, just think about it.
No, it's not going to be a short leash. He's going to let him play because obviously something's wrong with Rudolph's head.
He did something with Rudolph in the first interception he threw. He gave him less than a half. Boom, and he was out. So, right now,
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to bring Rudolph back.
Worrying about whose feelings get hurt doesn't matter right now, because right now everything is laid out for the Steelers. It's right there for them. They don't have to worry about anybody doing anything for them. We go 2-0, we're in the playoffs.
Win 2, we're in.
Nobody else can do anything about that. We control our own destiny. The most important thing is winning the football game. To me, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback.
Great stuff, Chip. Thank you. Shout out to Jono and his Three Rivers Stadium painting with sand and paint. We're honored to have it on our show every week and appreciate that, Jono. Thank you very much. Chip, I want to thank you for sending a picture on Facebook of George Hallis with the Yankees and the guy that followed him was Babe Ruth. So
it's interesting.
It was a precursor of
the man,
things to come.
The house that Ruth built and what he did for the game of baseball, and look what George Halas did for the game of football.
Did they trade Halas to Boston for Babe Ruth, or
No.
how did that happen?
No.
Halas.
Go by the original story.
They told him after his first
We don't
stint
need
as
you.
trying to be a baseball player.
We don't
They're
need
like,
you.
son, why don't you try playing football?
He goes, I'll become a legend.
Maybe you'll make something of yourself.
Well, speaking about legends in football, everybody knows the legend in football was Smoking Jim as a scout. Beginning of the year, he was wearing Cleveland Brown gear. I told him, you got to watch it. He said, they're going to be in the playoffs this year. They got great players. I said, and Chip said, yeah, they may look good on paper, but they're still the Cleveland Browns. Then I'm watching a game, and they're saying, Cleveland players are saying, come get us. Where are they at? They're in Arizona. They're saying, come get us, which nobody's going to come get them, but they want out of Cleveland. Look at OBJ wants to come to the Steelers. What we need is another freak show. But they're Smoking Jim. He says, just look at the tape. I looked at the tape again. It's so obvious that he was all about Cleveland. We said, that's still the mistake on the lake. I have empathy for all of you Cleveland fans. This is the best year that you've had in a decade.
Two.
I stand corrected. I was only going back like Smoking Jim 10 years.
Oh, I'm going back to 2002, which is the last time they made the playoffs.
I'm not even talking playoffs. They got 6 wins. That's the most in a decade. Go figure that. Those people have my empathy. I'd rather be a Steeler fan at 8-6 and being frustrated. I didn't expect 8 wins this year in a winning season. And if we can win those 2 games, I'm all in. We need a miracle, and we need Baltimore. Please sit your players down. You'll be in the playoffs. Please. Just do that.
So my question is the heat going to be too much for the Kitchen? And is it time to get him out of there?
Kitchen may be gone at the end of this year.
It'll be
because he's losing the team. Anybody can wear a T-shirt saying Pittsburgh started it and get away with it. You talk about no class, a mistake on the lake. He continued that tradition.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think Cleveland should have hired Bruce Arians, the genius? He
No,
wanted
no,
that
no.
job.
No, I think
He's
they should
doing a
hire
great
Mike
job with
McCarthy,
Jameis
because
Winston.
there ain't going to be a job for him here in Pittsburgh.
Put it like this. He's a quarterback whisperer, and he's doing some great things with Jameis Winston there, because anybody can throw touchdowns and interceptions at the same rate. You got to be doing something right. And his day has passed him by. He was terrible in the booth last year when he was doing his announcing.
2-time NFL head coach.
I give him credit.
Yeah.
He had his day in the sun.
And you know what? All that got him was fired.
Like
Just,
all
I'm
coaches.
just saying.
Yeah.
Coaches are hired to be fired unless
He
you're
didn't get fired. He
unless you're
stepped down and
Belichick and he's
retired.
got tape on Kraft or something like that.
They forced him out. I don't know if you know, but the
because
Steelers,
he can't get.
Bruce said he'd
Yeah,
be back,
yeah.
and Tomlin said
Yeah.
he decided to retire.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, how does Belichick keep his job? And he's been caught cheating 3 times now.
Well, they believe in it. Hence Belichick.
But just to speak one last before we, and then we can move on to the next segment. Smoking Jim told me in all seriousness before this season, on paper, the Cleveland Browns had the best team in the AFC North. It's a good thing games aren't played on paper.
And the legend of Smoking Jim Frazier making outlandish statements continues. And we'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Welcome back, everybody. We got to focus on fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Thanks to Stephanie Hayner.
I tell you what. Thanks, Steph. I already sent her a text thanking her, man. That was some good nuts, isn't it? Every year. Well, fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac is, I tell you what, we got to say a congratulations to a
Who?
self-made man.
Who?
Drew Brees.
You just noticed them.
Drew Brees is a guy that I studied. And I won't talk much on Drew Brees because I don't want to step on Chip's toes. We're on the same
Go ahead,
page.
put out what you're going to say.
But you know, Drew Brees came out of Texas. Wasn't nobody recruiting him out of Texas, even though his grandfather was his head coach in high school. So he had to go to Purdue. And don't forget, at one time, Purdue was
Powerhouse.
the quarterback back in the day. You had Bob Greasy,
Jim Everett.
Jim Everett, good. Or Chris Everett, which one? I forget. Jim Rome called him Chris Everett. Okay.
She plays tennis.
Do you call him Jim Everett? Okay, he goes by that.
That's his God-given.
How about Lenny Dawson?
No, I didn't know that.
How about one of my favorite, Mike Phipps?
Whoa.
Yeah. How about Jeff George? Nobody's more talented than him, you know? And the one thing that I noticed about Drew Brees, and don't forget, Drew Brees was only a second-round draft choice at the San Diego Chargers. Who was the first-round draft choice that year? He's already in the Hall of Fame. Years ago, he went in. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay.
Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson is the same age. LaDainian been out of football long enough to be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And it wasn't recent. So longevity has its place in this game. Who would ever thought that anybody would go past Brett Favre's record? I
Boy,
never thought anybody
You're not
would go
even
by.
mentioning the injury that Drew Brees had in San Diego. They
in a
thought he'd
playoff
never
game.
play again.
That's true. And
And he built his arm back.
He built his arm back up. And I tell you what, I never thought anybody would break Dan Marino's record. Then I never thought anybody break Brett Favre's record. Then I never thought anybody beat Peyton Manning's record. But the one thing I've noticed about Drew Brees, he's the exact same size, puts me in the mind of the Duck Hodges. The Duck Hodges could be the next
Duck's
Drew
taller.
Brees.
Duck's taller than Drew Brees.
6'1". They both about 6. Drew's 6 foot.
If
Drew
that.
was
Look
6
down
foot.
on him. Duck looked down on him then.
That's what I'm saying. He's not. You're overestimating the Duck there.
And that's it.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. All right.
All righty. Welcome back, everybody. And, well, Jim kind of stole a little of my thunder, but last night, and this is something that's pretty unusual, that Drew Brees seems to set all-time NFL records on Monday nights.
Yeah.
He broke the passing yardage record on a Monday night.
Yeah.
He broke the touchdown.
Hold it. He missed 5 games. How did they plan this Monday night out?
You know, he again, Monday night, he broke the touchdown pass record. You know, so when, you know, he just some numbers for you. Number 1 in the career passing leaders category, Drew Brees with 76,884 yards, and that does not include what he threw last night. Tom Brady's next up at 7,479. Peyton Manning would be 3rd, with Brett Favre 4th, and Danny Marino number 5, followed by the 3 quarterbacks drafted in 2004. Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
And the only reason why Eli and Phillip passed Ben, because Ben's been out since game 2 of the season. He's played 6 quarters of football. So this rounding out the top 10, John Elway, and number 10, believe this or not, I was surprised by this,
Warren Moon.
Matt Ryan.
No way.
Matt Ryan passed Warren Moon by over 1,000 yards already.
There's a
Wow.
Rooney rule to get a black quarterback in the top 10. There ain't no Rooney rule for that.
They didn't work that
I
out.
don't know what they say to you. So you know what Drew Brees has accomplished in his career is truly amazing. And if my dear friend Jim would like to look at the top leaders in passing yardage, the proof is right there in the pudding. But Drew Brees entered Monday night trailing Peyton Manning by just 2 touchdown passes to tie the NFL's all-time leader at 539. He is now in sole possession of the honor after connecting with Josh Hill in the third quarter. Breeze had previously connected with Michael Thomas and Traquan Smith at the end of the first half. It appeared that Breeze had the record when he connected with Smith.
I saw that.
Offensive pass interference was called that negated it, but that didn't last long. Had Breeze not missed a handful of games earlier in the year, he would have likely set the record several games ago. And my dear friend Jim Frazier would like me to give a shout out to one of the greatest quarterbacks to play in professional football in North America. And the reason why I stated it that way, because not only did he have a stellar NFL career, where he started when he left the University of Washington, okay, he played 6 years in the CFL, Canadian Football League. He won 5 Grey Cups in a row, 5 championships in a row. Think about that.
How hard is that?
Nobody else has done it. Right?
That's right.
Okay. Did I give him a good shout out?
You didn't say his name.
Warren Moon. Warren Moon.
And if you combine his professional record, he got over 80,000 yards, so he should be number 1, right?
No, because what translate from the Canadian Football League to the American, it's not comparing apples to apples. Field's a different size.
It's a wider field.
You know,
I'm a march about that.
Yeah, good. You
Do it during Black History Month. We'll see you in February.
Okay, just to kind of finish up with Drew Brees, because we got more of the show to do, and we started late. It's not the first time that Brees has made history on Monday Night Football. He became the all-time passing yardage leader last season when he connected with Traquan Smith for a 62-yard touchdown pass.
Wow.
So he didn't do it on a 3-yard out.
Wow.
Brees also broke Dan Marino's 1984 single-season record in 2011 against the Falcons, statistically speaking. Brees is incredible on Monday Night Football. So he broke the touchdown record on Monday night, the yardage record on Monday night, Dan Marino's single-season record, all on a Monday night. Tell you what, I think we have a new Mr. Monday Night, don't you think? Drew Brees.
One little thing. Peyton Manning won 5 MVPs. Drew Brees, with all his success, has never won an MVP. So he's sort of overlooked, even though he has a stellar career, Hall of Fame career.
He's never deserved one. Who's he going to beat out? Peyton Manning, Brett Favre? He's never had that kind of year.
Good point. That's what happens, Smoking
And
Jim.
ain't going to win it this year either.
No.
Well, you look at it this way as well, if you want to go that far. Look at the team that he had around him, and look at who Peyton Manning was throwing the ball to all those years.
Yeah, I give the edge to Drew Brees.
You know, so I mean,
You're calling him a choker, Peyton. You're not calling Peyton.
Drew had the talent around him.
Marvin Harrison's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Edgerrin James arguably could be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a star wide receiver and a number 1 running back like that. Makes the quarterback's job a lot easier.
Drew Brees had Bush from USC.
Reggie.
Reggie Bush. Yeah, Reggie Bush.
If he wasn't
I'm trying to help you, CTE,
he was known more for being with Kim Kardashian than he was anything else.
I love her.
All right. Thank you very much, Chip. We're going to move on. On location, we got a show coming up January 13th, 2020. Our first show of 2020 will be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. Frank Fanera, the owner, is looking forward to our debut show of 2020. I'm already lining up some guests. So we'll have some great guests for you there, and they always have great Italian food. The Italian ice, they're going to be done with that. I think they just had the last batch at our last show, and it was always wonderful. We'll wait for spring and summer again to get some more Italian ice. But their pizza, their Italian dishes, they're all great, all freshly made. So check that out. It's a great location on Brookline Boulevard. Pretty centrally located for wherever you're coming from. So we'll see you then. We're looking at a possible show at another location for a Kidney Foundation fundraiser that I'm looking at organizing, but we'll see what happens. Haven't heard back from a couple people, but that's in the works, and we're always looking for different locations, maybe a restaurant in Bethel Park or Baldwin or somewhere nearby. If you want to host a Pittsburgh Sportsline show, get a hold of Al Levine, the Talking Machine. So we'll check that out, and we'll keep that open. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk some Steeler talk.
We're in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, and here's Yager with the puck. Yager, nice move around Brett Sutter to the backhand. Let's it go, he scores!
Welcome back, everybody. We got some Steeler talk with you. We're disappointed after the last game. I was talking about off air. Can't believe they didn't have a running game going with James Conner back. How did that happen? And then you unleash the duck. We don't want the duck unleashed. We just want him throwing about 20 balls a game. That's it.
He threw too many ducks.
Yeah.
And and here's the thing, when you've got a young and inexperienced quarterback, what you try to do is you try not to put him into situations that he's not yet prepared for. And I know Jim's going to quote statistics, and then when he played in the minor leagues, or he even played in the minor leagues of college football. Okay, and he put up 14,000 yards against a bunch of I don't know. I mean, against
he never took a snap under center.
Even in high school.
How about that?
But the players that he played with weren't even good enough to play on a Division I team. So putting up those stats, that looks good on paper, but there we go. Back to the paper again, huh? Well, we know how that worked out for Cleveland.
Paper looks strong.
But, what you've got to do, and with the way the Steeler defense is designed, is, do not turn the ball over. I think the thing that most impressed me about Sunday night's football game is here's the Steeler football team. The offense coughed up the ball 5 times. Buffalo only scored 17 points. And I'm telling you what, if you can hold your opponents to 17 points, you're going to win a lot more football games than you lose. And that's the thing that I was most impressed with.
Yeah.
I was not shocked.
Even look at the first half when they could have kicked a field goal before the end of the half and didn't.
Yeah.
They should have got 3 points. That's where some of the coaching, the flaws come out.
Well, and then there was the one point later in the game, Tomlin was motioning for him to spike the ball, and he decided to wing it and threw the interception, and that was just a few minutes left in the game, and it made a big difference.
Sure.
But, that's his inexperience, and, I don't think that we should throw the towel in on him completely, but, nor should I think that we should, go ahead and trade Ben Roethlisberger. First place, here's the thing you got to understand. We don't even know what Ben Roethlisberger we're going to get back.
He says he's coming back.
What kind of arm strength is he going to have?
He got a couple more months in the cast.
Well, here's the thing. You think about what happened to Gregory Polanco last year. Yeah, I know it's a different sport, but he couldn't throw the ball from right field to first base.
Yeah, but I gotta stop you right there. I was at the game, one of the few games I went to, and I've played baseball, watched baseball my whole life. That had to be one of the worst slides that I ever saw in my life. And he tore up his shoulder. You saw it.
I was there, and I saw that, and how he did. I think if he tried to do that again, he probably couldn't pull it off.
No, he almost did a cartwheel.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
I mean, the point being, when you're having arm or shoulder surgery or something, you never know what you're going to get back out of that. Are you going to be the same? Yeah. Is he going to put the same zip on the ball? Or maybe Ben just might think that, after having a whole year and not getting beat up, for...
You see the beard he has now.
For He's 8 or 9 months.
He's letting it grow till he gets his cast.
Think about what these players go through for 9 months out of the year getting beat on by monsters, and week in and week out and having to play in pain. You know what? It might be worth his while to think, hey, maybe I'll just watch my kids grow up.
There's nobody holding a gun to these guys' heads. They're getting paid very well. All of us would love to do it. Listen, everybody talks about the level of competition that the Duck played at, but it's the same level of competition that Jerry Rice played at, Walter Payton played at, Deacon Jones played at, Aaron McNair, whose record he broke, and they got a statue out in front of the stadium of Tennessee Titans for Aaron McNair, and more recently Darius Leonard, who's led the NFL in tackles last year as a rookie and a rookie of the year. Same level of competition. This is not on Duck. everybody's going to have a bad game. Ben's thrown interceptions, 4 or 5 interceptions in one game. Duck is a great player. I would trade Ben right now and save $34 million. Here's the reason we lost the football game is because Coach Tomlin was trying to get Coach of the Year. Randy Fichtner don't know what he's doing. You got a team that is the Buffalo Bills that is an awesome team, outstanding team. They have the number 2 rated pass defense in the National Football League, but you can run on them even though they showed pretty good. And the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to throw it 38 times when you got most of the receivers on the team or practice squad players. They cut one of them. You got 2 tight ends that wasn't on the team last year because McDonald is hurt. And it's all on the coaches. The defense played well enough to win. The offense was there. You're going to run Wildcat with 2 dudes that never had nothing to do with the Wildcat.
So let me follow your logic here. When he stinks the joint up, it's the coach's fault. But when they win the game, 3 games as a team, it's all his fault because he gets all the credit.
Did a great job?
No, I think on all the games that they won.
No, I'm just asking.
No,
do you think the coaches did a great job?
No, they did not do a good job. And I think Duck did even worse. Okay? Because they asked him to do something he was in no way, shape, or form prepared to do. And that's throw the ball 40 times. And if they set up a game plan with him to throw the ball 40 times again, mark it down, it's a loss. Guaranteed.
Wow, you heard it from Chip. Unbelievable. No, it just shows you that there's ups and downs. And look at the Buffalo Bills. They beat a lot of weak teams. Now they're playing great football. Josh Allen throws a ball away every so often. It's unbelievable.
Speak to something like that. You know, I hear this all the time, the level of competition. Oh, they played a team with a losing record. Let me tell you something. Every one of the 32 teams in the NFL is capable of beating any of the other teams in the NFL on any given Sunday. These are professional football players. They are the best of the best. So, you know, any game that you win against an opponent in the NFL is a good win. I don't care what anybody
just tell you
says.
this much. I agree in general with that because the 1,500 players that they have there, even if they're the worst team, they're the best in the country.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that it can happen. But when you see these teams that win 1, 2, 3, 4 games, they're not very good each week.
Yeah,
and it's the majority of that. But if a team comes together on the week they're playing us or somebody else, I give them all the credit in the world because they outplayed us.
But, you know, when you got these teams.
Especially if we go bowling the night before.
You know, when you got these teams.
That was a rumor.
That win 1, 2, 3 games, you know, and we always want to lump all the blame on the coaching staff. But
Sure.
you know what? The player's going to assume some of that responsibility as well. You know,
I agree with you.
I look at it as it's a 50-50 kind of thing. Yes, the coaches made some bad choices on the game plan for Sunday night.
Horrible.
And horrible execution of the plan, okay? Because if they would have executed the plan as it was drawn up, maybe we win 17-10 and not lose 17.
Did you like the Wildcat?
I got to throw something out.
When it works, yes.
I got to throw something out on the gambling. I believe a lot of football games in the NFL are fixed. And people go, how can you do it? Smoking Jim's a known gambler, loses every week. And he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Well, I have a theory. If you get to one player, one coach, one referee, in each game, what happens? So I'm watching the game, see the first punt by the Steelers, a 22-yard kick. My son and I both look at each other. This game is fixed.
Yeah.
We said, we're not going to win. And that was after the first punt.
Mm-hmm, good point.
And then we see the game plan was no game plan.
Right.
So it just makes you wonder what happened with one bad punt to cause this whole game to be a different game. If he punted 40, 50 yards like he's capable of, there's a field position.
Yeah.
Both our teams, defensive-wise, mirror each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been a mirror type of game. It would have been different.
You know, and I'm a little bit critical of Duck because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't proven anything yet, and he's got a lot of upside. Okay, but you want to point fingers and put blame.
I like white on white crime.
Where is the offensive line? Where is the pass protection? Where is the run blocking? This
The
is
main question I have is where is the run blocking?
And I know that Jim's comment is
because they're the best offensive
Mike
line
Munchak
in the league.
is in Denver. But you know what? Last time I checked their record, they're playing for a very high draft pick this year. Okay, so I don't think Mike Munchak was the solution to everything that's wrong in Denver.
How many quarterbacks did they have play in Denver this year?
Probably as many as offensive linemen as we had playing this year.
Yeah, but it's just some of those things that you look at during the game, and it just makes you wonder. And I'm not giving up on the Duck. I don't know if I want to have a drink with him like all the people that Smoking Jim says, but he seems like a nice enough guy.
They got to get the fumbling machine out of there. That Dante Johnson, he holds the ball like a loaf of bread. Don't you agree?
When he's getting a touchdown or a 79-yard pass, I love him.
Yeah, everywhere else, man.
It don't matter.
So
He can't hold the ball.
before we run out of time here at the show, and I know we got
We less than 5 minutes, folks.
I want to have a minute or two of Bucko talk because there really hasn't been much to say.
No, it's been
on
quiet.
the Pirate front, but the Pirates have put some pieces in place.
Really?
I am optimistic for 2020 baseball season. We have replaced the president of the team with the guy from the Allen. Don't choke. with the guy they picked up from the Penguins. They brought him over from the Islanders.
Williams.
They hired a young manager.
44 years old.
Nothing but upside to this guy. Understands the game, the analytics. Today they hired a pitching coach. And in this pitching coach, he's in his 30s, but he's able to connect with younger players. And I'm very excited to see now what are they going to do with the tools that they have in their toolbox. The Pirates' cupboard isn't completely bare. Their farm system has been emptied out pretty much. But, there's still a lot of good players on that team. And I'll be interested to see what they do now. They haven't made any big splash moves in the free agent market. And literally,
Did they sign somebody today or yesterday?
They picked up a backup catcher. Okay,
We
because we
need
need catchers, and we only had one on the roster. Is there going to be a trade made between now and spring training? I expect it. I wouldn't be too surprised to see if Starling Marte went, but only if the Pirates can get what they want back from them. They're looking for a major league ready catching prospect with 6 years of control.
Yeah.
And if they don't get it, don't give them up because Starling Marte's a good center fielder and a major league talent. And if you're not going to get major league talent back from him, don't trade him just to trade him.
Right.
It would be kind of foolish. We've got him at a bargain price. So, there's some things going on. I'm not going to be too shocked if there isn't really these splash moves being made. There's going to be some moves made. I think more is going to be done between now and spring training and evaluating the talent they had and seeing what they need to do to help make each and every player on that team better at what he does. Yeah. Position players, pitchers, catchers, and even the coaching staff.
I'm optimistic except for one thing. Bottom line, Bob. He's only going to spend a certain amount of money, and I'm worried that they have to rebuild some of their minor league. Also, we need a feeder system. But I'm nervous about the limits that they put their general manager under.
Well, and here's the thing that I want to speak to that, because this narrative is never going to stop if people don't put it to rest. Everybody wants to blame everything that's going on bottom line Bob. And you know what? I don't care who the owner of the team is. I don't care how much he spends. I want a team that's competitive, that's going to win baseball games on the field. And to be honest with you, if people just will lay off the bottom line,
well, I throw it out there.
The economics of baseball, they're not fair, okay? But teams that are in the lower
Here's
end,
why I bring it up. You got other small city teams that have success. Look at Tampa Bay. Look at Oakland. And I say,
look at Minnesota.
And Minnesota especially, I say, why not us?
And that's
And
the
then-
reason why we brought people in from these organizations.
Right.
Because they've seen.
Well, we can
it
continue
working.
this another day because I'm optimistic with a little bit of an edge to it. And I want to thank all of you for staying with us, watching our show. We had a little delay at the beginning. Hopefully it wasn't too funny. It was like outtakes because we weren't ready. And this is Al Levine saying, stay Joey strong.